Hello, my friends, relatives, family, esteemed colleagues. Let's see, where did this idea of virus come out? What spurred the idea of virus? Well, the reason why people are getting sick was always puzzling science. In the past, there was not much disease, but with development of society, so did develop diseases. Why with society? Well, basically, we know when Europeans came to the new continents, like to the Americas or to Australia, New Zealand, people that lived there did not suffer from any disease. The white people, Europeans, brought it with them. Now why? Why did European people have disease and the people that lived with nature did not? Well, if we now again consider that genes control the state of our cells, what cells will do actually. This means that the environment is influencing the behavior of the cells. Now, when we are living with nature, like nomads, which the tribal people were, what happens that they follow the herds, they follow the animals, and they cannot stay in one place. So they move. This way, they don't live in pollution. Because if they had polluted, if they did some destruction of the land, well, the land has chance to recuperate as people move to different locations. But nomadic people will always very much in touch with Mother Earth, spiritually. And this we know when, for example, they would kill an animal, they would always make prayer over it, ask for forgiveness, explain why the animal had to be killed. One life sustains life of another. Now, when you live in this manner, your vibration is influenced by vibration of the nature, and we are talking about the vibration of Creator. There is not going to be any deviation of the frequency, which means brain is not going to have a reason to show disease. Now, in Europe, and not only in Europe, but on the Eurasian continent, thing was different as religion shows up, especially. But even before, as civilizations start to grow, the only way civilization with big cities, big development can sustain itself is through agriculture. So people had to abandon the healthy animal-based foods and go into plant food. They have to start using grain, sugars. Grain is nothing more than sugar. And this triggers genetic shift, which triggers cellular shift. And we are basically destroying the workings of our body. And this is how disease showed up. And then add to it poverty. And now people normally, well, they don't want to live like this, so they would want to move. Well, this did not suit well those who wanted to rule. So borders were created. And how to control people through fear. So the best way is to create good cop, bad cop. So religion was created with God and devil. I'm not saying God doesn't exist, but the God that is created by people is not the God I'm talking about. The God of the God creator. So this was all working pretty good, because to keep people in line, now the religious leaders could not do it themselves, because how could God demand taxes and demand certain things and borders and prevent movement? So kings were put in place, nobility. And nobility and religion always worked hand in hand. It's left and right hand. It's like this. And we can see it in what's happening today. Now, there was always more need for more fear, so people can be more and more restricted. And how to control people better than with a fear of pain, fear of disease? There is nothing worse than being sick. So there were scientists always learning as the new diseases were starting to show up. Science was created to start to debunk them. And we had some great scientists. One of them was Antoine Bechamp. Now, Antoine Bechamp was a 19th century doctor and scientist. He, through investigation, discovered that problem of human health comes from pollution and not from bacteria and fungus. Even though they have been found, but they are found in pollution, in polluted organisms. And to heal the organism or prevent organism from getting sick, we have to deal with the pollution. If we deal with pollution, there is not going to be development of bacteria, because bacteria and fungus, they feed on garbage. And they don't necessarily come from the outside. The body creates them when it cannot cope with its own garbage. Now, why couldn't body cope with its own garbage? Because of the wrong food, number one. And later on, because of toxic recommendations, which, well, the number one was eliminate salt. So tell people, yes, salt is necessary, but as little as possible, because now the fake science goes that kidney cannot eliminate salt properly, and it keeps building up, and that creates more water retention, higher blood pressure, and problem with circulation, with heart, inflammations, and so forth. Now, all this is completely opposite. Now, at the same time, when Antoine Bechamp was living and exposing the medical science, the truth, there was this, not clerk, but chemist, Louis Pasteur, who started saying, no, Bechamp is not right. Because if you take the parasite, if you take the bacteria and the fungus, and you put it in a water, you infect the body, which means the pathogens are the problem. And if we fight the pathogens, we are going to heal the body. Well, this was much more suitable to the Cabal. Remember, Cabal exists for thousands of years. It's not a new formation. It's just changed a little bit the way it operates, but it existed. It's from the time when the Nephilim, when the Anunnaki decided to enslave us. It started to form. So the Cabal right away jumped on the wagon, gave him Nobel Prize, and this is what was promoted. And Antoine Bouchot was shoved in a corner and forgotten. I have never heard of Antoine Bouchot until I spoke some 10 years ago when I first spoke to my friend Jeremy Ayres. So I have come to the same truth before I heard of Antoine Bouchot. So this was just something, additional information that proved my thinking to be on the right path. So what happens is that when a person gets sick, and this is now new modern medicine, and remember that everything, the whole science today is controlled by Cabal, and Cabal is basically the bad cop, okay? It's the evil. It is the Lucifer. This is their God. So what they do, they turn everything positive into negative, and everything negative they portray as being positive. So since now, all of a sudden, the truth became that the virus's problem, it's not the toxicity, because toxicity, yeah, eat better, eat vegetables, fruits, that's good, don't eat meat. Again, switch the sides. And what happened is that now when somebody gets sick, we take a blood, and right away we go and check for bacteria and virus, or bacteria and fungus. But what happened? There were people who were showing disease, sometimes same symptoms, but no bacteria and no fungus was found. Well, science does what it does the best, lies. So what was done? A new pathogen was created. It was created from the air, and it was named virus. Okay? So now, if you have symptoms, and every disease has basically the same symptoms. So if you have symptoms of disease and you cannot locate virus, or bacteria, or fungus, bingo, it's a virus. But now, virus, okay, so what is this virus? Well, virus is what they tell us through science. It's ribonucleic acid. We know that a single strain of ribonucleic acid carries genetic information, but it cannot replicate itself unless it is intertwined with another ribonucleic acid, and when that happens we call it desoxyribonucleic acid, DNA. Since for replication we need DNA, not just RNA, well, we are being told that this single strain virus has to enter the cell and then steal one RNA of the cell so that it can create a DNA and replicate. So it will replicate in the cells, and since it replicates in a cell, and we know that we can kill virus only with antibiotic, and antibiotic can also kill the cell if it penetrates. So this way it's calibrated in a dose so it can kill basically just in a blood or in a tissue. And since it cannot kill in a cell, that we cannot get rid of virus, we cannot kill the virus. But now, since virus doesn't exist, well, before we go there, so since we cannot kill the virus, well, let's make the body immune to the virus. How to do it? Well, use the simple technique. When we want to immunize body towards bacteria, well, you kill the bacteria, you just take their DNA and put it into the blood, vaccine, so the body creates antibodies. And now you are going to be immune. So now we are going to make vaccine for virus, so this way we can prevent viral infections. Well, how do you make antibody, how do you make vaccine for virus when you don't have RNA of virus? Well, this didn't make any problem. You basically take the biological material from a sick person and inject it into a healthy person, and this way you are now transferring the material. Well, now you know what is vaccine. Vaccine is basically a bunch of biological garbage, and not only biological, because they put in there also mercury, they put in there aluminum and all kinds of stuff to inject in your body to make you resistant. Well, this does not happen. What happens, it pollutes the body, and since you're not allowed to take salt, you cannot cleanse it. This is all intricate medical science of creating diseases and destroying human health. This is what is modern medicine. Now, since there is no, the RNA of virus does not exist, so what are these viral tests that we have to be taking, supposedly, so we know, because you can infect somebody even if you don't have symptoms, but you have the virus, no? You are asymptomatic, you are sick, you don't know you are sick, you are asymptomatic, but you are sick. All these tests, taking a breath from your mucus and running tests, are fake, because you cannot prove something that doesn't exist. The only thing that you can find there is ribonucleic or deoxyribonucleic acid of the person that you took sample from, nothing else. And this is proven. Every doctor knows it, but most of them don't talk about it. Why? Because they are worried about their diploma. No diploma behind me. I got rid of my diplomas because they are licenses to kill, nothing more. Because you killed people and you are not responsible because you did everything according to the teachings, according to the way how you are being told by the science. This is why Elon Musk, a month ago or so, in one day had 4 tests done on him for the virus, the Wu flu. 2 came out positive and 2 negative. They can tell you whatever they want, because nobody can prove it or disprove it if we believe the science. And what do we have? Pelosi and all the other rats in Democratic Party, they tell us we have to trust the science. Fauci is the science to trust. Yeah, another little schmuck. Number one idiot and very evil idiot. So, here you have it. Virus does not exist. Our body reacts to changes of frequencies, changes in ambient, and if it's toxic, as it is defending itself from the change of environment, the whole body gets in a state of shock. Depending on the strength of the change will be contra-reaction of the body in a shock way, or in a way as Dr. Bruce Lipton calls it, flight and fight situation. And this may increase the rate of your heart, increase a little bit blood pressure, increases a little bit the pressure in your tissue, and if your cells are polluted, as more water comes in from this increase of pressure, some toxicity starts spilling out, making the blood even more toxic. And this creates all the symptoms we call disease. Everything. The ache and pains in the body are created from the increased pressure and from the increased toxicity, and all the other symptoms like changes in color of urine, diarrhea, nausea, fever, headache, those are all signs of cleansing of the blood, nothing else. Cleansing of toxic blood. The more toxic the blood is, the stronger symptoms you will have. Now some people, some doctors who are awakening, they call virus as energy frequency of awakening, but has nothing to do with this. It's basically simple body's reaction toward stress. And stress can be evoked in a body through many different channels. It could be you get scared, and this is why it can be summer, and you get scared, and you get up starting having symptoms of flu. Or if you have herpes pops out, just because you get scared, or you get cold all of a sudden. So things are completely opposite from whatever they tell us in the schools through the science. Science is corrupt. And it is time to basically stop. Get rid of schools the way they are, because they are indoctrination centers, and start learning the proper way. Learning the truth from those who you trust, and that you can visually see that it is so. So experimentation is always necessary. I write a blog. I put 2 articles every week out, and I'm writing basically about my work, my experiences. And every time that idea comes, every time the Spirit gives me message, I have to verify it, because this could be also a signal coming from the Kabbalah. I don't know. When I got message that, when I was asking, well, how can I cleanse the blood? Because realizing that toxic blood is the main cause of all problems. So how can I clean this blood? And we know older person, a young kid has a very brilliantly crystal clear blood, light red, very liquidy. And older we get, the blood becomes darker and stickier. Why? Because it becomes toxic, dehydrated and toxic. The problem is not age. We should never be sick as we age. Problem is toxicity, and this is why young people can have diseases of old, what we call old people. You can have Alzheimer in a young person. Before, when I was young, very few people I knew that they had diabetes. And those that did, they were old. Old. The age is also something we can discuss. But let's say they were 60 and older. Now I see I'm helping families that have children, even 3-year-old child with diabetes. Very easy to solve it, very easy to heal the body. But I cannot use any knowledge that was given to me in medical school. Well, I finished veterinary medicine, and luckily I did so because I understand digestion way better than any nutritionist or any doctor. So we have to understand that what's happening now, we are fighting the evil so we can get to the truth. And we are almost there. I know for years I'm saying we are almost there, but things are happening because of slow awakening of people. And now I see that many people have no chance to awaken, to be awakened, because the indoctrination set in way too deep, way too much control. It is very, very difficult process. Now you can see very well what happened in the United States in a Congress. It needed capitulation of one system so all the rats surface up and show their true colors. Brilliant scheme, brilliantly executed by President Trump and the Whiteheads. My head down. I thought I'm pretty smart, but this is way beyond my comprehension, even though I'm tapping into it pretty clearly. Well, don't be afraid. Get rid of the stupid masks. There was never any infection coming from virus coming from Wuhan. It's all from Wuhan. What came is basically propaganda. Yeah, they kill a lot of people that they wanted to eliminate. It happens regularly in communism. And then they filmed it and they patched it with completely wrong narrative to scare others. And it was all, not China. China is part of the system. It's cabal. It's all cabal. It's coming down, and coming down hard. Thank you for listening. Till next time, let God be with you. Love you all.